And Dan, are you on the call?
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are. Thank you.
Yes, I
Let's
am.
um, let's make you some spotlights here. Okay, so the fireside discussion will have two main players. One is Dan STELIAN Roman. He is a PMI and Agile practitioner and project manager with more than, let me open my presentation. I also had a
Many years.
wait a
Let's
second,
say
'cause
many years.
we are transitioning and it's taking time. But it's just taking a second to share the screen. Yes, and to present you both. So I will tell you how I know Dan Stelian. He is a great mentor to me. I've been following him for years on the projectmanagement.com where he was doing a lot of webinars, and he was speaking with so much passion and with so much knowledge about agile, and he inspired me actually to go and research more and to find out the origins of agile. So he brings more than 15 years of experience in management and consultancy and project management. His work has been taking him across many industries and still delivering the same quality, the same awesome results for his companies where he worked on. And one particular point I need to say about both of them is that they are in completely different time zones, and it's been so tremendously great that they are here with us and they have time for us to join. Dan is in Sydney, in Australia, so you can imagine what hour is there. What hour is Dan there? 11, 12.
11:31.
Yes, and Benjamin is in Canada, and he just barely woke up for us to be here with us and to share from his leadership experience and project management. Yeah, hi Benjamin, how you are?
Hi, welcome. Good morning for me at least. I know for you guys it's a little bit more in the afternoon, but no, it's a little bit earlier
Yeah,
for me. I think it's 6:30. So I got my tea and everything ready to go. I'll hopefully be
way
able
to
to bring
go.
some of the morning energy.
Thank you for being here and for having us in your schedule. So, Benjamin is a dynamic speaker, project leadership coach, and workshop facilitator, has helped hundreds of PMs actually to transition or to enhance their project leadership and career in project management. He He's also one of the top LinkedIn profile at the moment, so he's extremely well known, and he accepted to be here in his quality in leadership and coaching, right, roles. So I guess we will start kicking off the discussion with what exactly you planned for us. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, so
Dan,
Magda, I don't know if you need to change the screen share right now. Right now it's showing your Canva pop out.
I will stop sharing it.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think we can kind of go back and forth about some of the leadership values for Agile. And maybe I can share a little bit of my experience getting into my first Agile project, because that's always something that's interesting. I think when people shift either into predictive, into Agile, sometimes it can be very jarring. And I know when I first got into my first Agile project, I actually didn't find it too hard because I think the way that I operate in terms of having servant leadership, and we can talk a little bit about that later, um, was very good because for me, I come from a, I'll say, generalist project manager background where it's not everything specific to what type of industry and different types of projects where maybe it has to be ERP or maybe it's a supply chain logistics warehouse creation or whatever it might be. And so for me, a lot of the times when I go into projects, I'm not the expert. And that actually lended it well to an agile environment where you really want the team to be able to go and lead themselves to be able to go and accomplish what was done. So at least for me, it didn't feel too jarring, but there were a few intricacies that I found in that. I guess for you, Dan, like what has been your area when you first got into agile? How was that for you?
So maybe I need to apologize because I had my first project in 1985, Agile project. At the time, software development was very agile. We didn't know that what we do will be called agile. And the big learning that I had at that time is that agile it's a new mindset that was built from a new way of doing programs. So now object-oriented is the norm. Before object-oriented programs were very structured like waterfall, line by line and so on. And it's very interesting. For today, I wanted to mention a bit about a new thing that PMI released. It's called Manifesto for Enterprise Agility. Like Magda said, I do a lot of webinars on projectmanager.com, and it started with my interest in knowing when Agile started. So for me, this manifesto, two things, because we speak about leadership. One is that the manifesto for enterprise agility mentioned leadership and organization design. Things like in the previous manifesto for software development were not there. And second, for me, it's a sort of back to the future because the Agile enterprise concept was defined in 1994, 92, 94. And it was at the moment a response from US industry to the success of Lean in Japan. So it seems that Agile is evolving from team to enterprise, and that's also the answer of it's good that PMI acquired Agile Alliance, or it's not good. From my point of view, doing both Agile and predictive or planned, it's a very good thing because in a way, project managers will become Agile, so we learn how to adapt better. And Agile teams, development teams will become a bit more structured and reduce the waste that comes with Agile.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think overall, like from a leadership perspective, it's good to be able to go in and understand how all of that works. I guess from what you know of in putting together the manifesto for enterprise agility, how is that different from the team or the team agile, right? Versus enterprise agile. What are the biggest differences?
So basically there are three layers in the new manifesto. It's team, which is execution, it's organization design. So a lot of changes in the culture of the organization, in the structure, and then the top layer it's leadership. And this is where there is a question that people keep answering wrong. Agile doesn't minimize risk. So that's for the leadership. Leadership should understand that if you want to be agile, you take risks. So you have more risks, but you find opportunities. So for leadership, there are two keys. One is the risk, no longer risk averse. The second one is delegation of authority. You can't make an organization agile if you are still the big boss, that it's commanding and control everything. And just telling people, now, tomorrow you are agile. Go for a
Hmm.
training, and from tomorrow you are agile.
Hmm. This actually brings to mind just a quick question I have around that as well, because I think the biggest problem that leaders have when they shift into the delegation piece, right? Moving out of command control and moving away from carrying on a big bat, or maybe it's a big carrot, I don't know, depending on what your leadership is. How do leaders build that trust to be able to go and hand it off? Because I think that's like I think that's when I work with leaders, that's some of the biggest hurdles, right? Of how do I let go? How do I trust that if I give it to them, they'll be able to go and do a good job? And maybe you can answer that first, and I can provide a little commentary afterwards.
It's a learning curve. So I'm speaking from my experience as an ex development manager. So everybody was expecting me when we started Scrum in 2003, 2004, to tell them what to do. And
Hmm.
the big change for a leader is to let people fail without punishing them. So it was very, very hard to keep quiet when I knew that the outcome will be bad and people will make mistakes. But that's the best way for the team to learn to build a team. So if a leader wants to be agile, With that delegation of authority, in my view, there should come also a delegation, financial delegation. So let the team manage a bit of money, so they learn that everything that you do in a project costs money.
Hmm.
And also letting people fail with guardrails. So this is one thing that is coming with the manifesto for enterprise agility. Is no longer prescriptive. There are guidelines that people should, apply as an organization. So
Hmm.
trust by verify.
Yeah, yeah. And that can be even very jarring, right? Because I think in a lot of corporations, even the ones that I've worked with, like mistakes are not an easy thing to let go, right? The room for failure is not necessarily something that even from a project budget perspective are saying, hey, you know what? Let's go and set around this contingency piece for us to go and screw up. This is our screw up garbage fund, right? And so being able to go and shift some of that mindset piece around allowing that space, even from a metrics perspective, is important. I know sometimes even when I work with organizations and say, "Hey, we want to go and put all these project management behaviors in there," even from agile or predictive, whatever it might be, they also have, we'll say, HR metrics for their bonuses or whatnot that can actually work against them, right? Of how well are you delivering this on time and how accurate are you are with these things? And I'm kind of like, well, people will then put their estimates at the very, very end when they know it's the most accurate, right? To be able to do it rather than actually going through the motions of putting things forward. So, yeah, it can be very interesting where that happens.
Uh, Very good point with metrics. I just had a very interesting, with quotes, experience when in a large project, so multi-million dollar project, estimation and delivery were tracked with story points. And
Hmm.
we all know how easy it is to game story points. In my view, when the story point goes out, the project team, development team, becomes a problem. When
Hmm.
you start reporting to the finance manager that we deliver 50 story points and we earn more money, things become very, very dangerous because people just assign whatever number of story points they want. So
Hmm.
if people don't know, the guy that is credited with inventing story points said, "I'm sorry that I invented them because they are misused." So metrics are very important, and that's where Lean Six Sigma can help a lot in agile transformations. When you put metrics that you can really trust, and also metrics that the senior management can understand, because they are
Hmm.
all about return of investment. And I get this question, how do you convince senior managers to be agile? By showing them that they get more money. It's that simple.
Hmm. It's the bottom line, right? That in the end, organizations will care about whether we care a ton about it or not, right? When we're trying to do our job, and we're trying to measure things around like things around
It,
trust, around can we delegate, right? And it is accurate, but then how you condense that and show that to them is going to be very important, even from a leadership communication perspective.
and it's interesting that even in not-for-profit organizations, the outcome becomes very important. There is a very nice example with building a school. The scope of the project is not to build buildings. The project of the project is to learn, to have kids that are learning something, that become educated. So
Hmm.
it's not always about money, but that outcome is the only way to show the management that Agile works better than planned approach in some instances.
Right. And even I think from the PMI changes inside of in the eighth edition is looking more from a value perspective, right? It's not looking at just the budget portion if we boil it down to money or just the time. There's the value aspect that needs to be brought into it as well. So
Uh,
that's always kind of very interesting of
Interesting
just
that
how does
you
that put
mentioned that
forward?
one of the values of the project management code of ethics and professional conduct is responsibility. And that's something that is very strong in Agile: responsibility to environment, responsibility to the people. So it's not only about money.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So I guess from going into the agile mindset for leaders, right? What does that look like for the agile mindset as a leader going in there, whether you're the scrum master or just an agile leader operating in under a different methodology?
Um, so it depends. If we speak about Scrum Master, the big change in leadership style is to influence change, so influence people to adopt change from
Hmm.
a higher level leader, executive manager is drive change. Change doesn't come from the top one stick. So I hear we are a Scrum team and we implement Agile and the whole organization will become Agile. Uh, if the organization want to be Agile, it's you start from the top, from the CEO and everybody else, thinking that things will change. Failure is an option. I've seen a lot of projects when they said failure is not an option. And embracing change, which comes with risk, and we have to embrace risk when we speak about Agile.
Hmm. Embracing risk is an interesting thing. How do leaders expand their mind to be able to accept risk? Because I think that's always an interesting thing because I think overall project managers in general are risk averse. We don't want to get
Yes.
into trouble where something goes wrong or it costs more money, all of these type of things. How is it that the leader, as a servant leader, then embraces risk?
It's a bit of education. People should learn that there are negative and positive risks, which are opportunities. And if you want to stay ahead of your competition or to achieve your goals, then you have to take risks. It's
Hmm.
that simple. If you go to a path that it's very safe, you won't be ahead of your competition because they already did what you do now.
Hmm. No, I totally understand that. And when when the how is that different, I guess, of the team taking on risks versus the leader, like say the scrum master looking at risks? Is there a difference in how that perspective works?
So for Scrum Master should not take anything because they just look after Scrum, but they should
Yeah.
encourage the team and facilitate the team to take risks. And
Hmm.
it's not about taking risk only. It's about assuming the responsibility for whatever mistakes, failure, and so on. So the role of the manager is to create that environment, safe environment for the team to fail in certain guardrails. The role of the Scrum Master is to coach the team in taking risks.
Mm. Okay. That's an interesting because I work as a more of a leadership coach. When you say that they need to coach the team, how do teams work through that? What does that look like?
So it's showing by example. So you start some initiative, let's say a bit of research, and if that thing fails, you don't start punishing people. You focus on what you learn from that failure. And
Hmm.
this is basically how research is working everywhere. When you start a new thing, you don't know if it's successful or not. But if it's not successful, you don't need to give the money back. You know whatever you spend for that research. It's a mutual understanding from the beginning because between the team and the manager, that's unknown, and all we want is to find out if it works or not. So a sort of spike with the management.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and maybe I'll bring up an interesting scenario here is what if the team itself is accepting of the risk, but maybe upper management doesn't? And maybe this speaks to a little bit difference of like the team agility versus the enterprise one, right?
Yeah, as I said, it won't work at the enterprise level if the team is agile but the management is not. And one thing that maybe I'm different than many other people, it's the servant leader concept. That's something that emerged in 1970s. And from the story that introduced the concept, the Scrum Master, the servant leader, emerges from the team, is not appointed. So that will be my advice for the management. When you want to move to Agile, let the team self-organize and choose the person that is the best facilitator, the best Scrum Master.
Mhm.
The best Scrum Master is not the best developer or project team lead, architect, or whatever. Scrum Master is not a technical role. Scrum Master is a facilitator. It's a people management role before anything else. And that comes with teaching people how to take risk in some limits. So Scrum
Mhm.
Master has a very big role in coaching the team how to think different, how to adapt to change, how to take risks.
Right. And how do organizations then, I guess, funnel that up so that the enterprise can take on that type of thought leadership as well inside of Agile? Because I think for what I see a lot of the times when I'm working with organizations, they go and put together all of these things for what Agile should look like, and they say, "Okay, great," but then the organization itself is very hierarchical. There's a lot of there's a lot of layers of command and control that are already there, and how do they make that shift?
Yeah, so it's again it's delegating authority,
Hmm.
and agile should emerge, organic. It's an let's say empirical thing. I never believed in agile as enforced, imposed from the management or from the team. It's something that it's organic, and each team or organization will find the level of agility that they can have
Hmm.
or they need, because just because you send everybody to do a scrum training doesn't mean that that organization or team will become agile overnight. It's an emerging process, and the role of the leadership is to provide the environment. The role of the team and scrum master is to provide motivation. So let people speak, try. For me, the first implementation took 1 year, and it took half year for me to keep quiet, and half the next half year for people to speak.
Excellent. I guess overall,
Great
like,
insights.
yeah.
Yeah, we are slowly running out of time, so I would stay and listen to you all day long. That's for sure. You had such interesting questions, Benjamin, and I liked really this ping pong of discovery of your experience between you two, both of you. I do have one question from my side. In the light of AI emerging and AI being the hype, the buzz, how do you see Agile evolving with AI? Do you actually see AI taking some part into the backlog, prioritization, planning ahead, and all this role that anyway Scrum Masters are doing?
Can I take it?
You can start
Uh,
Yeah,
first, Dan. Go ahead.
so AI is emerging. That's a wrong conception. AI started in 50s with translation. I think AI is a tool, and we should not make the same mistake like we did with Agile, that it's a silver bullet that will solve all our problems. I keep hearing people that we don't need project managers because we have an AI agent that will plan everything. AI can't manage people yet, maybe in the next 500 years. But at the moment, a project manager, a scrum master, their main role in the team is to manage people, to motivate, to coach. AI can do that. AI can provide recommendations, and that's where the big challenge is, to understand and evaluate the recommendations from AI. We need to learn more than we know now. So just because we have a new tool doesn't mean that we don't need to learn. We need to learn much
yeah.
more than we did so far.
Indeed, continuous learning is what keeps us afloat in this industry. Thank you so much, Dan.
My pleasure.
Benjamin, thoughts on AI in Agile?
Yeah, I'm aligned with that. Of AI is another tool for us to be able to go and use and learn, but in the end, it forces us as whether we're Scrum Masters, Agile leaders, project leaders, is that we have to be more human than human. We need to be able to go and exercise more of our leadership skills in facilitation, conflict management, being able to negotiate. All of those things are going to become more and more important. And that may push some of the other people into uncomfortable zones, right? Where they're not as familiar into it, or they would let the process be able to go and manage it. And so there's going to be a push, I think, for more of these leadership skills to be more prevalent inside of the industry in order to be able to operate. And I think there's going to be a challenge where at there may be points where there is a large talent gap where they expect AI to manage these type of conversations, to manage people. And if we don't keep working on these leadership skills, those will become lost and we'll somehow leave it up to, I don't know, AI to help manage us. And I don't think that will end well if that's where we decide to go in and go with it. So for all of us, I'd say, yeah, we then have to lean more into our, you could call them soft skills or power skills. Those are the areas we have to lean into more.
Thank you. Thank you both. It was really insightful, and I see the chats and people liked it a lot, and they want to know if we can summarize the fireside. Guys, this was a one-time thing, and for sure you can follow Dan and Benjamin, and you can discover the great work that they are doing on their LinkedIn profiles and follow them through all their professional deliverables that they are doing for free sometimes. So please get in touch with them if you liked it. Thank you so much, Dan, Benjamin, again for your availability, for making this possible across 3 different time zones. We will stay in touch. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, and now for the rest of the sessions, I just want to tell you we will take a quick break. So we will meet again at 2. So please, we will not be on camera. I will switch off and we will just take a quick break. Thank you and see you soon.